Here's where it gets official. Clear your throat.
Hello, everyone. And
hello.
Welcome to our webinar. We're just going to give everyone a few moments to filter in, and then we'll get started.
Look at all these names coming in. Man, feeling the love this morning.
See, Chris, afternoon. All I need to do is put your name on the marquee, and it's just by the thousands.
Do you think it's this? You think it's this picture right here? People always ask me, like, why do you still give this picture? And why don't you give your headshot? I'm like, I just want to, it feels a little bit more fun. It's a little bit who I am.
It is who you are. As everyone who attends this webinar is about to find out.
Oh man, that's awesome. Good morning, everybody. We'll let everybody keep rolling in here probably for a couple minutes.
Mm-hmm. I love it how Chris thinks it's morning for everybody because he's in the central time zone and has no idea there's anything in the world outside of his world. Yeah, there's a thing called time zones, Chris, and people in different parts of the country are on different. Yeah.
We'll talk about that later, right? Can you explain it to me? Okay. Cool. Oh man, that's awesome. All right.
So again, welcome everybody. Yep. You can tell Chris is ready to get going. He's even got the bat back there in the corner. So if I drone on and on, he's going to bring the bat and give me a good smack in the head. People will be like, I didn't think you could do that. Like, how can a person in one location? Trust me, it's all in the technology. We have the technology. We can make it better than before. Yeah, there's my $10 million man reference. Boy, now I just dated myself.
Oh,
all the Gen Xers in the room are like, yeah, okay, this guy gets me. Everybody else is like, what was that?
I kind of remember. I remember my parents talking about it and everything. You know what I mean? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No. I'm a little bit on the older side as well, so it's all good.
Oh, a little bit on the older side. Okay. So either I'm missing something or you haven't experienced gray hair yet. So maybe I'm missing something. Because in case you haven't noticed, that's not an issue here. Mine is just straight on au naturel. You got it. All right, we're getting just another 10 seconds or so here. You want to start a countdown, Chris? Make it feel all like
10, 9. No, I'm not going to do that. I'll spare everybody. They're going to be like, oh, we got to get off. This guy's annoying.
Yeah. Well, look, the numbers are going down, Chris. They're supposed to keep going up.
Oh man. Yeah, we don't want anybody bouncing off this thing too early. But it looks like we did get a couple more.
Yep. Good
we're at 56.
Stuff.
So why don't we
Let's
probably kick off since we got about 42 minutes left.
You got 42. Boy, I tell you, Chris is on it. So hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar, Accelerating B2B Sales Success. I'm your host, Doug Wendt. I am the President Chief Growth Officer and sometimes the Chief Cook and Bottle Washer over here at Wendt Partners. I'll tell you a little bit more about us in a minute, but I want to take a moment and introduce our special guest today, Chris Moore. Chris Moore is a strategic channel account manager as opposed to a non-strategic, I guess, Chris. You're a strategic channel account manager with HubSpot and a veteran salesperson. And I'm really excited to have Chris here. We're going to be talking real life. So this isn't scripted. We didn't put together anything to say, well, let's pretend that this is how sales works. This is just two people who spend their whole day trying to find and serve clients, talking about what they've been learning and what they've been experiencing. Chris, welcome to today's webinar.
Thank you. And I'll just say very quickly, Doug was not kidding when he said that this wasn't scripted or planned. Doug and I'm just gonna say it, just get it, a little icebreaker for everybody. Doug and I have worked together for a few years now. I love this guy, and we've done many webinars. And many webinars, we've had a deck, and we've met a few times, and we said who's gonna talk at a certain time, and he's like, oh yeah, you're gonna do this webinar with me. It's gonna be great. Come do this webinar. And I'm like, hey Doug, let's go ahead and let's talk through this a little bit. No, it's gonna be fine. We're good. We'll just talk the day before. And so I kid you not, This is real life. We talked yesterday, and the reason being is Doug's right. We use these tools every day. We live this life, and there's not scripts wouldn't do well. It's more of a conversation, and just a quick 1 minute on myself. For those of you that I haven't met, Chris Moore, live here in Nashville, Tennessee, even though it looks like I live in Texas. I've been in this space for about 18 years.
You have to explain why we'll get to that.
The UT thing. Yeah. Funny enough, I didn't even go to UT. I went to Sam Houston State. I played soccer in college, so I had to go where the soccer was. Texas didn't have scholarships or anything. So, but been in the space for a while, started a few businesses with a buddy of mine, an agency actually, back in the day. His name's Nicholas Holland. He actually works at HubSpot as well. In fact, he just makes a little bit more money than I do because he leads our marketing business.
I don't know about that. We'll talk about you and your success in sales in a minute.
But yeah, so good to meet everybody. I'm really looking forward to the discussion.
Absolutely. And just so everybody knows, we've scheduled this webinar for an hour door to door. We're going to present for about 45 minutes here, and then we're going to make sure we have time for questions. The program is also being recorded. So if you want to share some of the learnings from the program with friends, colleagues, we'll make sure everyone gets a copy of the recording at the end. When you want to ask a question, we're using the Zoom Q&A tool. So inside your window at the very bottom, you have all the different controls. One of them is Q&A. You can actually ask a question at any time, and if we have a moment to pause and it's a good time, we'll make sure to address it. But we've got the Q&A tool up on our screens, so we can make sure to make this interactive. So Chris, let's talk a little bit about professional sales and your experience in professional sales, and then I want to talk about where HubSpot came into that picture and some of your lessons learned. So. Cool. Tell us a little bit about, I know you worked for a small, PC startup called, I don't know, it was founded by a guy named Michael. What was it called?
Dell.
Dell.
Yeah. It's a smaller company.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guy named Mike Dell. Yes.
Yeah. I spent about 10 years at Dell. Started off just doing home sales. You would call in and dude, you're getting a Dell. I don't know if anybody remembers that commercial, just to date myself. I think he got in trouble and kind of went away, but regardless, it was a great campaign that they ran. And so I worked there for a lot of years and had about 7 different roles, both kind of as a sales rep on the inside, did on the outside, I did some training for them, did leadership. But yeah, I spent quite some time there. I helped them build their software and partner program. And it was some of the best sales training I've ever had in my whole life. Honestly, I learned some really cool stuff.
And the topic today is sales acceleration. And I think it's important to point out that you can only accelerate sales if you first understand what slows sales down, right? Like the pain that we're trying to solve is, oh my gosh, I have quota for this month and every deal is sliding. That's the reality of the world we live in, right?
Yeah.
Chris is
Oh man.
So by the way, tell us, what does it mean to be a strategic channel account manager in real life?
Yeah, in real life. So it's always funny. People are like, "Oh, what's your title?" And I tell them, I'm the North American Strategic Channel Account Manager. And I try to say it 3 times fast, and I never can because it's such a mouthful. But what it means is I work with some of our top partners here at HubSpot. I have a responsibility to the organization that's about double the quota of my previous role.
That's what I was looking for. Yeah. Right. You were the guy that fell for the title change and realized now you have double the quota. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's Chris. And
it's been a great run.
And what kills me is this: they gave him double the quota, and then what happened? What happened at the end of last year, Chris? Don't be shy.
I ended up number 1 with my partners. It was a team effort. We ended up number 1 in the business. Yes.
Yes. So Chris was the number 1 sales rep at HubSpot.
With my partners.
Yep. Yeah, with his partners. Absolutely. Yep. Of whom we are honored to be one of them. So
that's right.
Let's talk about where we started when it comes to all this technology. I want to talk a little bit about what is HubSpot, why is it important to this conversation. But I'm just curious, what was the first customer relationship management, sales automation, we used to call it, what was the first sales automation or CRM tool that you used in your career?
Yeah, I would say CenterSource, when we started CenterSource, that was really it. And I mean, really,
CenterSource was your agency.
CenterSource, that was the agency that I helped Nick Holland start here in Nashville, and did that for a few years. But like back then, it was just like writing stuff on paper. That was my first, like writing stuff on paper. You know,
cards, tickler files.
We had tickler files. And then, you know, we got a little bit, you know, mature in the business. And back then, Salesforce was really kind of the only game in town. There were some open source tools. So we got on Salesforce. We kind of got off of Salesforce. We tried our own open source tool, Sugar CRM. It still exists today. But it was, the platform, Salesforce's platform was quite different back then. They've grown to be a great business. But that was actually my first real. And then, of course, when I went to Dell used Salesforce, as most very large enterprise companies do, because that's where they fit. But yeah, how about you?
It's interesting. So, you know, this will give you just a little bit of sense. I'm going to show a screenshot from the first CRM system I ever used.
Oh God.
Okay, which happens to be Act for DOS.
Oh, man.
Yep. Good old Act for DOS. You know, that and WordPerfect word processing was awesome. You know, you didn't need to worry about having a color screen because there wasn't anything in color, and you didn't need a mouse because the computer wasn't compatible with the mouse. So this was my IBM XT with Act for DOS, 1987, 88. That's what we're talking about.
Oh, so my gosh.
We go way back. Yep, way back.
Way back.
You know what? We've come a little ways. We're gonna show some tools that are maybe a little bit more advanced than that. So let's talk about that. Okay. Why is a tool important? I mean, you know, a lot of people would say that at the end of the day, what makes a great salesperson is great salesmanship. And it's certainly true that some salespeople who, you know, have not graduated past business cards and tickler files and still have a Rolodex on their desk. Okay. A Rolodex, you know, those people sometimes are some of the most successful salespeople in a company. So, you know, understanding that a lot of people think of sales as something that's inborn, you know, what is the importance of technology? You know, why is CRM important to this conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, like, I'll just speak from kind of personal experience. Like, while I feel like I do a decent job remembering the things that I need to get done, you know, day in and day out, like the people that I talk to, the quotes that I need to get out, you know, the information that people ask for. Without a tool like HubSpot, I mean, for me, obviously, I work for HubSpot. I love HubSpot, but without a tool just in general, it's things slip through the cracks, right? You're slow to get those kind of things out. Like when people ask for information, speed is so important. I think we can all agree in sales, like that is absolutely such a game changer, right? If someone asks for information and it takes you 2 days to get it to them, and they asked the other person for that same information and they got it to them in a day, and the price is similar, they look at that other person, they go, wow, they're faster, they're more prompt, they're more on it, they're more organized. It's just a better look. And so I think technology for me is it's important so that I can stay fast and I can stay accurate and really kind of serve my clients.
You know, you brought up a really good point we're going to zero in on as we dig into some of the tech as well, which is, you know, you've heard the term like the sales motion or a fluid motion in the sales process. So when we talk about sales acceleration, we're talking about a process, right? A journey. And we're really trying to choreograph that journey and project management, you know, project manage it effectively. The prospective customer is on a journey of learning, selecting, deciding, budgeting, getting approval, all those steps in their process. They have a buying process. Some customers are better organized than others at running that process or are in a better position to focus on it. But there is a process here. And it's very easy to lose sight of that. And I'm curious, Chris, in your experience, what are some of the maybe little things, you know, like with the calendar and next steps, and like what are some of the key things that you do to try to keep that process flowing smoothly?
Yeah, I mean, look, we here I'll actually just show something like in real time. I'll just pull up. Can you see this? Okay.
Got it. Beautiful.
Okay. Cool. Like actually, I still had one up. I was about to send you something earlier. So like for me, you know, I want to give people a way to book time on my calendar without having to trade 9 emails back and forth. on, what time can we meet. Everybody's been caught in the email war on trying to book times. You just want to slam your head into the wall. Like, it's just not effective for anybody.
Right.
So we, like at HubSpot, what we have, and people are familiar with Calendly, it's, it's similar, but obviously I like this tool better. People can book time directly on my calendar. That's one time saver for folks, right? We can give them options on when we have times to meet. So like proactively, I can come in here, and I know my my calendar looks a little bit like yours, Doug. There's not, if someone wants to meet with me, they have one option this week, and we can put that kind of stuff in there, right? It looks like
awesome.
My cursor was down below, but when I'm reaching out to people, having things like templates ready to go that I can answer, like these are just things that they accelerate the process. Embedding documents, directly in here, right? Having documents ready to go that I can pick from, proposals, putting quotes in, that kind of stuff. That's how I stay fast.
So I want to point out something. You're actually essentially demonstrating HubSpot without actually having to even be in HubSpot right now. You're in your email client, right? Yep. And so whether, in this case, it's Gmail, it could be Outlook, you're able to do all of these things on the fly.
Yeah. And what
in the moment.
What's so cool is I'll just tell just a really quick story, like what happened yesterday, where I'm on a call, and it's an important call. There's a lot of people on. There's actually someone on that's really kind of being difficult, right? You could tell out of the group, 9 people wanted it to happen, and this 10th person, they're just pushing back. They're hanging on to their systems, right? And so I wanted to clear things up with that person and just make sure that they knew exactly what we were trying to deliver. So like on the fly, I just came in, I created a video. I could do it now. I could hit this video button and create it. And I just put that video right here in an email, right? In 2 seconds. And then I saw this is how they engaged with it. Like I see that they started this video. I know that this is just me. I have the same shirt on. Is that embarrassing? Did I just tell everybody I wore the same shirt yesterday? Anyway,
we're just going to pretend you have 3 of those shirts in your closet, and it was just a random part of your rotation.
Yeah. But regardless, now I know that this person is engaged. Like this is how I know, right? I can move quick. I can know when they're engaged. I can see how they're engaging with the emails.
Yep.
Right. I can see when they're opening them. That's how I personally operate.
So I think you've hit on something that's really, really important. I think we underestimate the challenge of moving quickly. Okay.
Yeah.
It's easy for a sales manager to say, well, I don't understand why the sales cycle isn't moving faster. The prospect said they were interested. Why haven't you closed the deal yet? That's easy to say. It's hard to do between schedules, who's involved in the decision process. In B2B, it's often not one person, it's often 3, 4, 5, right? What different information people need to see. Like you're herding cats, right? You're managing stakeholders. There's a technical person probably involved. There might be a business decision maker, a financial decision maker, and you've got to basically you're selling individually to each of those people at the same time that you're selling to them as a group. And in order for you to win the business, they have to feel not only that your solution is the right solution, but that you treated them with white gloves, and they're not the only one. You've got 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 at once that you're trying to create that white glove experience. So I think emphasizing speed is really important. I'll give you a couple of examples. I'm going to show some things from my HubSpot account as well. And again, it's interesting. We keep learning, even though we've been a HubSpot partner, we're a reseller and an implementation and training partner. We've been a partner for a decade. We're constantly pushing the envelope on how can we use the tool better, not just honestly for our clients, but also selfishly because we're constantly finding the business is moving faster. I was literally on 3 sales calls this morning before hopping into this meeting, and I knew I wasn't going to have follow-up time, between that and this, because I had a quick internal meeting, then I had to hop in here. So one of the things that we've learned to do, and I'm going to bring up an actual deal. This is an actual client of ours. And I'm going to bring up an example. Chris, let's suppose that we're on a sales call and we want to create a quote, for Kevin. So I'm able to come in here. This is the quoting module in HubSpot. We have a tool in HubSpot called snippets. You can just use a hashtag and say, let's say we look, and that's a hashtag, a shortcut basically for bringing in certain information. And this is a HubSpot Solutions engagement. I can hit next. That's the person I'm selling to. And here, I'm going to go ahead and add some line items from our product library. Okay, let's say that we're going to provide a portal optimization partnership service, and we're going to add, and Chris, what have we done on some sales calls when the customer's like, well, can you get, what do they usually say? Can you get me some pricing? And then, I'll look at it and then maybe we'll meet again. Right?
Yeah, you're like, hold on. Let's just go ahead and flip the script a little bit. Let's just go ahead and put it together while we're talking. And then you get to show off kind of the tool, which is obviously very convenient. People are shocked that you're building this on the fly. They're shocked that, by the end of the call, they actually have pricing in their hand. And then what you can do is you can focus the next call if you have to have a next call, right? And sometimes it can close. It's been known to close then, but if you have to have a next call, now that's focused on closing, right? There's a tight agenda. You're not having to wonder, did they get the quote? Have they looked at it? They're seeing it in real time. That's what's pretty cool. That's right.
You got it. We've got our discount for friends of Chris. I've literally done this in a sales call. I've said, we're going to give you a discount. You're a friend of Chris. We love working with Chris. We'll give you a nice discount there. Okay, let's use e-signature. You're going to sign. Let's use the payment capability here, and then we're able to continue. Next, and there you go. Now we can publish this quote, and I can literally give the quote in the Zoom meeting. Here's the link. I can write an email, and we've done this. We've done trial closes in meetings. People are so blown away.
It's crazy.
I don't think I've ever had someone say, well, now send it to me. Like, let's go back and talk about where that phrase, just send it to me, comes from. It comes from the experience pre-digital of like, okay, you're probably going to have to put some stuff together and send it to me in an envelope. And then in 2 weeks, you'll call me. Like, that's the framework people are still operating from. And what's scary is that's the framework a lot of salespeople are still operating from. They're like, okay, yeah, we'll go put together some pricing. Okay. If anyone here is familiar with Sandler methodology, in the Sandler methodology, they call that running on the prospect's process instead of on your process. One of the key elements of Sandler methodology is the upfront contract. The idea that you start the conversation by saying, look, we are on a shared journey here, and we need to know that we're on the same page about that, how that journey looks. And at the end of that journey, you're going to be making a purchasing decision, right? And so there are steps we want to have in that journey. Some people have, in tech, a lot of times they call that a joint evaluation plan, things like that, to help choreograph. What we're doing here is we're not only choreographing, we're flipping the script in a way that gives us better influence and in a way that impresses the client. I think it's really critical to emphasize that. There's no point in flipping the script and irritating the prospect.
Right.
But flipping the script and blowing them away that you're Johnny on the spot, they're like, well, send me a data sheet on that. Oh, great. Chris, go ahead and if you want to pop up your screen, let's take a look at HubSpot documents and see, why is that so important? I can quickly customize. So we have, 4 different lines of business in our company. They're all HubSpot related. One is focused on implementing HubSpot for clients. One's focused on building HubSpot-based websites and digital assets. One's focused on technical solutions with HubSpot, and one is focused on agency services. We call that our Growth Solutions group. And we have different email templates. And in those email templates, we have those data sheets all set. So Chris, tell us a little bit about what you're showing us here.
Yeah, I was just saying, I just thought in real time it might be helpful. So you can actually come in and load all of those documents up, right? So this is just, upload it from a lot of different places. Once you get those loaded up in real time, like when you're in an email, I can do it straight out of HubSpot. Like if I'm on a contact record and I'm reaching out to this is a demo portal, by the way, for everybody. But if I'm reaching out to this person, I can put that document right in here, right in the email, like in real time. And I can see how they've engaged with that, right? Look at that, Wendt Partners is in here. That's kind of cool. So I can do this in real time. And then obviously once, I can use templates to start that, documents. but I know that they've engaged with this because I'll get a notification when they open the document, when they open the email. All of this is shown to me in real time through a floating notification. I think that's the thing I just want to like make sure I drill home is, if you send something to someone and then they engage with that content, and then you call them back or you engage back with them quickly, that speed, that's how you close deals, period, the end. It's actually a Kixie. There's a product, they're a telephony product. And one thing I love about their product is, this isn't a pitch on Kixie or anything, but they're just awesome.
Kixies are great, and they integrate seamlessly with HubSpot. We use Kixie. Go for it.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So what they have is, they've got a feature where someone leaves a voicemail, it sends a workflow through HubSpot with a series of emails to that client, right? To kind of tickle them and make sure, they get them, kind of warm them up, right? When someone clicks on that email, it actually in real time will call back to the person that left the voicemail in the first place in real time. And the reason why they do that is because the customer is engaging with the content. And so you want to catch them right then and there. You don't want to wait a day or 2 days or a week, and then they've forgotten about you, or they talked to 3 other vendors. You got to do it right then. So it's the same thing with being able to see when people are engaging with your content. It's huge. And I think without tools that will give you that kind of visibility and that transparency, it's really hard to, in my opinion, run a sales process these days because your competition has it. Yes. That's really what it boils down to.
I think there's an important theme here, which is this is not easy for salespeople to do. We're being asked, and salespeople in general, especially in B2B, are being asked to take a heavy lift, right? Reach out, build relationships, and engage with very, very, very busy business decision makers, and then make sure that you don't miss any opportunity to win a deal and to convince a customer that your solution is the right one. That is a lot of work. And to have a collection of tools that helps you keep it in motion is utterly critical. The pure volume of activity that is required to make it work today is, this goes back to why do you need the tools? You need the tools because there's no way the human mind can keep on top of it. Not to mention there aren't enough hours in the day.
Right.
I'll give you an example. One of the things that we're doing, and you hit on something with the Kixie discussion, which I want to make sure all the viewers at home, I feel like I'm doing the game show host thing here. Hello, viewers at home, which actually now in the post-COVID era, half of you probably are at home. So that's awesome. And that is the automation side of this. So there are 2 flavors of automation. One is building that customer journey. Okay. So, and I'll give an example of that here in a minute. And then the other example is, making sure that other things in the background are happening in real time. And both of those are important. So I'll give an example. So I mentioned that one of the things that we do at Wendt Partners is we actually build websites on the HubSpot platform. A lot of people don't know you can actually build and manage websites on HubSpot's own content management system, which is an incredible power tool. So one of the things that we have down here on the homepage is we have this schedule your free growth assessment call. Okay. So literally on the homepage of our website, just like the website chat, this is also a HubSpot function. Okay. The whole idea of a website is to get people to go past the website. You want to start a conversation. Some of that is landing pages and forms. Some of that is website chat. Some of that is book a free call right now, a free assessment call. That's what we've got on our homepage. So what's interesting is we know at Wendt Partners, when someone says they're willing to book that call, okay, for 20 minutes to do a free growth assessment, we consider that the beginning of a sales cycle. And in our HubSpot system, because it's all integrated, whenever someone schedules a call using that link, it goes specifically to our discovery call calendar, okay? And when they book on that calendar, it automatically generates a deal record, creates a contact and a company record, attaches those all together, sets up who the team members are going to be, assigns who's going to do the discovery call, sends a confirmation to the customer, and we have an email template and a sequence to let them know who they're going to be talking to. And here's their LinkedIn profile, all of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All of those steps are just happening fluidly in the HubSpot environment. That takes a huge burden off, because What did I used to have to do? Hey, Frank, when would you like to meet? Even if you have like a calendar booking tool, okay, then you still have to go into your CRM, set up the deal. Don't forget to take the booking link and confirm it. All of that is gone. It's all absolutely seamless. It goes onto my calendar as a particular type of calendar invite. That is the customer journey. And by the way, saving the salesperson's pain, agony, and time. The other side of the equation is the backside of the process, what's happening in the background. So this is our actual sales pipeline. And one of the things that you'll notice, okay, is we have a category called scheduling next call. And we have an additional category called deal stalled. And they're different from the rest of the process. And the reason they are is because, in a typical pipeline, when you go to the first stage, it's 10%, 20%, and you're using those percentages as a back of the napkin estimate of your likelihood of closing business, right? The further along it is, the higher the likelihood of close, generally speaking, okay? What we've said at Wendt Partners is never, ever, ever leave a sales call without the next sales call scheduled. Okay, we do that for a couple of reasons. One is just to keep the conversation going. Another is the psychology of the standing meeting. We have learned, and the data has proven, that when we have a regular standing meeting with the prospective client, hey, let's meet the same time next week. Great, that works for all of us. Done. You keep that going, pretty soon they're in a regular business conversation with you. You basically already started the business relationship. Yes, you're still pre-revenue, but you're way past, well, let me get the literature and take a look and I'll get back to you. Okay. So for those reasons, we really focus on that piece of the equation. We always schedule the next meeting in real time. When a record drops into scheduling next call, it means we don't have that next meeting scheduled. And of course, there are a lot of reasons for that. People on vacation, the prospect says, I need to regroup with the team internally, all understandable reasons. But the goal of our sales team is to get them out of that stage. So we actually downgrade the percentage close dramatically. Okay, so the salespeople get notifications as soon as it goes into that stage. And by the way, as soon as the next meeting is booked with the contact and the company, HubSpot knows and it moves it out of that stage automatically. So this pipeline, even though it's drag and drop simplicity, okay, and that's awesome and cool, the reality is half the time we're doing things as users to move that. Half the time the system is doing it itself. And it's giving us real-time intelligence. So you'll see here, this particular account, it's a high priority. It's been a couple weeks since we've met with them. We're actually meeting with them tomorrow. That is why this is great, because there's been a certain period of time since we've had a conversation with them, okay? And that's all happening in the background because the calendar, the emails, the calls, because we're using HubSpot calling. I don't even have to leave HubSpot to place a call. All of those communications are centralized and automated, and that gives me real-time accuracy on my pipeline.
Man, woo, that's a lot.
Chris,
that's a lot.
Thoughts.
Yeah, my thing is like sometimes when I talk to people too, is they're like, oh, we just don't have that, we just don't have the same volume, and that's just something I hear a lot, and it's less about the volume and more about the polished process, because whether you have 5 deals or you have 10 deals, humans are humans, and humans forget to do things, right? We just naturally, right? So the more you can automate that process, the more things don't slip through the cracks, the more the process seems polished, and then the higher the sales, right? At the end of the day, and customer satisfaction. I think we're not even like really talking much about that, but like just the experience that you give someone, that alone, I mean, it's sometimes it's not as tangible to like measure, but that experience, I mean, unless you do NPS scores, I guess that's one way. But at the end of the day, that experience that someone has working with your business, being polished and automated, having everything at the right time, like that's a whole other piece of value, in my opinion. I think the other thing I would add is, for a lot of people, I'll share this real quick. I was pulling this up while you were talking, is they want to see, how effective is this month in and month out? Like how well is my team doing with those calls that you talked about?
Yes.
You've got Kixie connected to your HubSpot account, like you do in real time. You can pull it through Kixie, you can pull it through us. It integrates really well. How many people are we chatting with month in and month out? Let's look at this data. Obviously this is all made up, but let's look at this data, right? Let's see what does our deal change history look like? How many deals are slipping? What's waterfall look like? Like, what is our average deal size? Like, being able to kind of pull all of this up in real time and measure that, I think that's also something that I love about this platform compared to other platforms that I've used in the past. I feel like you had to graduate from Harvard with a reporting degree to put together reports, and I just went to a small school in Texas. So this is perfect for me.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
if you had to get a degree in business and analytics in order to analyze a business, okay,
right.
That wouldn't be very effective business analysis.
That's right. That's right. Exactly. And then like the last thing I would say is like, this is just my own report that I look at every day. How are we doing? How is the team doing? What's in commit? This is just something, that we keep track of here. It's called partner collabs. Like, how many times are we delivering discussions? How many times are we doing demo? And, how many activities have we done for the day, right? Partner calls. Like, this is all very specific to our business, right? So you can customize this and really report on your business. It doesn't have to just be canned reports. Like, these are very specific reports that we've built. And it's nice to be able to have that snapshot day in and day out. Also, it keeps my boss, right? Quite honestly, it keeps my boss and their boss off of me. We don't have to like say, hey, where's this deal? And right, like, where's this deal at? Like, what's going on with this? It's like, hey, just go check the CRM. It's all right there. That's a huge piece for me, right? Is that transparency. So.
You brought up something earlier that I want to double down on. Then I want to ask you to take a step back and give everyone a brief overview of what is HubSpot, since we jumped right into why it's relevant for the sales acceleration process. And the thing that I want to note is you talked about like some customers, are in businesses where they're maybe working 3-5 deals at a time, not 30-50. Okay. And, we have clients who have 500 seats of HubSpot, and we have clients who have 1 or 2. Like, this is a tool that allows very small companies to act like really efficient, well-oiled middle market companies, and that allows really large companies to act like more agile, efficient companies as well. Like, no matter the size of the business, there's value here. And in fact, we focus on both ends of that equation. We love working with small. We've had solopreneurs who we've brought into HubSpot, and they're like, my gosh, I'm literally running 3 times the capacity without burning myself out. So remember, those small businesses are also people who benefit. They don't have the time because it's a 1-person show, a 3-person show, a 5-person show. So tell us a little bit about, Chris. Like, take a step back. Again, I know we launched right into the details. Tell us a little about what is HubSpot in a nutshell and why it's an important and unique platform in the market.
Yeah, I'm just like doing this on the fly. Like this, I pull this up. I'm not going to kill anybody with like 50 slides, so don't worry. I'm just a visual person, and I think sometimes it's easier to see that. At the end of the day, I think we can all agree that any business, their mission is to turn these folks into these folks. We say promoter here, I call these raving fans. People that will shout from the rooftop how amazing your product or service is, how amazing you are, how amazing the experience is. If you've never read the Raving Fan book, like, I would put that on the top of your list. It was one of the first books I read when I got into sales. It like changed my life, changed my outlook. It's what I try to do in every experience working. But at the end of the day, we've got to find people that know nothing about our business. And there's a lot of different tools that we can use along the way. And when I had my own business with Nick, like when we ran that business, we were no exception, right? We had to duct tape stuff together. We had to try to get some free tools. And then, like I said, we got Salesforce at one point, and, we would use something for time tracking, and it was just all over the place. We had a bunch of tools. And what happens is, like, when you're in that boat, is you start to kind of build your own strategy, your own set of tools, and you try to integrate them all together, right? You want to put them and mash them into one solution. Or I don't know if anybody's ever heard of this company. They have a cloud in their logo. I mentioned them before when we were talking. They've gone and like bought up all of these different companies and put them under one roof. That's another strategy. What we're talking about today with HubSpot is all of these different tools. What's tough is like there's a cobble tax when you start to build it this way, and you try to integrate stuff with each other. There's this what we call a cobble tax. It's hard for people to learn the systems. You have different trainings that you have to go through. You've got different tech support teams that you have to go to when you need help. Where HubSpot's a little bit different is it's essentially we started off as a marketing company.
Marketing software, marketing automation software.
Absolutely. Right. Marketing software.
Digital
we invented this thing called inbound marketing, if you've never heard of it. Hopefully you have, but it's this idea of how do you get folks to come to you digitally, right? So we started off as a marketing company, and then we've kind of grown over time, right? We've added more hubs. We have Sales Hub and Service Hub, and we want to be the solution for someone on the front office. So all of the tools that you would use in the front office, you can come to one place. And so this slide, I think, does a really good job because it basically kind of sums up the value, in my opinion. It's one place. It's a single source of truth for the data. It lives in one place that you go to. You're not going to 5 different tools. You're not having to learn the 5 different UXs. You're not having to call 5 different companies when you have a problem, which is always a nightmare in tech. If you have a problem with one tech product, they're like, oh, that's not my fault. That's the other person's fault. You should call them, and then it's just this like finger pointing game until you've chased your tail for 2 hours. So you remove all of that. And then, oh, by the way, we do integrate with plenty of companies. We have tight integrations because obviously we can't solve for it. We don't have a QuickBooks built in. QuickBooks is still going to exist. Someone's going to need to integrate that in. So we do still do that. So that's like a power round on HubSpot, but at the end of the day, front office, we got your back.
Yeah, everything involved in helping creating great customer experiences, right? So marketing, sales, service, all of that flow. That's awesome. So Chris, we actually have a question that I thought was perfectly timed. So thank you, Bob, for asking it. The question is, first of all, we mentioned Kixie, and a lot of people are looking at a product like Gong as well, which I know you saw on the slides. So let's talk a little bit about, like, especially since you were just discussing it, where is the line between what I should do natively in HubSpot and what I might use one of the hundreds of tools that integrate with HubSpot for?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I would say, if there's questions on what the product can do and what you need to integrate to, you should always talk to one of our growth specialists. You can come to Doug, obviously, first, and he can engage depending on where you live. But really, like, understanding what's in the product first, because that's a good example. The Gong one. Yes, Gong exists and they're a great company and we are huge fans of Gong. But if someone wants to, kind of have baseline call recording, they want to be able to, to come into a call and see a transcript of how that went. They want to come in and like tag someone on the team. Hey, great call. Make sure you do whatever. Right. You can start to do these things. You can tag people. You can listen to the call.
But you're not in Gong. You're in HubSpot. No,
I'm in HubSpot. That's what I'm saying. So I guess what I'm saying is like people probably didn't even know that there's a Gong so to speak, a Gong replacement in a HubSpot. And I say so to speak just because, this is obviously Gong. All they do is call recording and call coaching, and that's the whole tool. But a lot of times, these tools are built into HubSpot. Like people sometimes don't know that social tools are built into HubSpot. So they're like, I'm going to use Hootsuite or Sprout Social. So I'll
give you a perfect example on that front. Yeah. But finish your thought.
No, I was just going to say, really just kind of doing some discovery, like looking at the website, engaging with you, reaching out to me. Let's see what tools we can replace, and then we'll let you know if there's anything that you need to go integrate with.
Yep. So one of those areas that people often look at is that whole LinkedIn thing. Hey, what do I need in order to do LinkedIn communication? Well, there are 1,000 tools out there, or you can set up your LinkedIn Sales Navigator account with your HubSpot account. Okay. Because here we go. We're literally inside my HubSpot record. Okay. And I can click view more and I'm going to see this is inside HubSpot. Now I have not left HubSpot. I've not used a third-party tool. I'm not even inside LinkedIn. I'm logged into it on the backside. But if I were looking at your record, here are things that you may have shared recently on LinkedIn, people we know in common, any related leads. Okay. All of this information is right here inside my HubSpot. So there's a connection process that HubSpot has with that record in your LinkedIn Sales Navigator account. And the other beautiful thing here is I can send that connect request from here. So if it says we're second or third level connections, I can send the connect request from here. I can send email from here, and it will show up in my HubSpot timeline. So, that's an example of where, just like you were showing with the call recording and analytics, chances are there's solution in HubSpot natively. Now, I'll give you a good example of, because we talked about Kixi earlier, and I think that's a great example of where the line is. So HubSpot has a super powerful built-in native calling tool. You can actually set up a phone number in the HubSpot calling platform and send and receive messages, and you're good to go. Or not send and receive messages. Sorry, make and receive phone calls. Okay. But there are some things that very specific kinds of sales teams want to do. If you have outbound SDRs, okay, and they've got to make a lot of calls in order to reach that next live conversation, what are some of the things that slow them down? What interferes with their sales acceleration? One is voicemail drop, the ability to pre-record a voicemail message that sounds very personal, but doesn't have the person's name in it. So you can use it repeatedly and let the caller continue. That is not something that's available in native HubSpot. So if you have high volume SDRs, use Kixi. Kixi gives you some of those power tools that an SDR team will benefit from, including what Chris talked about with the automation in HubSpot. Okay, so it's natively integrated. So I think the really key thing here is we find that whenever someone looks at a particular area of sales and marketing functionality, typically 85% of the time, they don't need another tool. And 15% of the time, they may need one additional tool that will connect natively into HubSpot and really push the envelope in that particular area. I'll give you an example, website chat, which is actually a HubSpot function available in all the versions of the product. Okay, so website chat, there are products that are chat specific vendors. All they do is chat, and there's a lot of advanced automation that they can do, and that's all great and well. I have yet to run into a customer whose entire business needs are not met by the live chat, scheduled chat, bot, and integration of the HubSpot chat tool. And furthermore, the advantage of having it all in one inside HubSpot is more than just the advantage of ease of use having it in one platform. It's the instant workflow automation, the instant triggering, the fact that you're able to run business processes against that information. How many times you've gone to a website, you can tell that they spent a ton of money on the chat vendor, because we all know perhaps who some of those expensive vendors are. No one's available. You fill out the here, we'll get back to you, and then nobody gets back to you. I mean, it's happened to me more times than I can count. In HubSpot, it's not going to happen because you're going to have an automated workflow that's going to route that contact, schedule the task, notify the person. It's top of the list. It's visible in the instant reports. So it's not just about doing the thing. It's about making the thing a seamless part of a process.
Absolutely.
So let's open it up to other questions. If you have a question, simply go down to that Q&A section, and you can hit the Q&A button, type that question, and we'll see it. I'm going to go ahead and throw another question on deck. Excellent. So we have a customer who asked, let's talk about Microsoft Teams. Can we integrate Microsoft Teams phone capabilities to HubSpot?
Phone capabilities. Not the phone piece. You definitely can integrate it from a meeting standpoint. You can do that. So if you have if you create a meetings link and you want to send someone a meeting automatically where they book on your calendar, that can have Teams as part of that. The calling function doesn't work just quite yet for inbound. Yeah, just for Teams. So that is something that's on our roadmap, though. Great question.
And I think it's also important to understand one of the reasons why there are limitations in this universe is because typically these are technologies that were just acquired by the company. Like Microsoft acquired another telecom product, threw it into the ecosystem, called it Teams calling. And so basically now there's another piece of technology. that needs to be addressed. So, we've got over 1,000 native integrations in the HubSpot ecosystem, always new ones coming in. All right, we have another excellent question. Can you explain the workflow trigger integration with voicemail and how you would know if they're on the website?
With voicemail and how they would know that they're on the website.
So I think that goes back to your example with Kixie. So how do we trigger that someone knows?
Oh, I see what you're
Doug's
saying.
on the website and now we want to give him a call, or let's start with that. I think that's it.
Yeah. So actually, just kind of like pulling this up just so people can see this kind of visually. This is the workflows tool, like inside of HubSpot. This is really kind of what HubSpot's known for, is marketing automation. That's what they've, not voted on by grandparents and husbands and wives, but the market puts them at the top, said very humbly, puts us at the top here. So when you start workflows, obviously you have those triggers that get set. So what Kixie does is they come in and they set that trigger, whatever based on, an email that comes out. They'll come in and set that trigger, and then they can choose, and I'll just choose one just to kind of show visually how this might happen, but they can come in here and they can choose what that next step is in real time. So if an email needs to go out, then they can choose from the email that was built within HubSpot. Mm-hmm. If it needs to be assigned to a rep, when that email is viewed, that needs to go over to a rep for automatic reach out, then you can come in here and just assign that to a rep as a task. And you can come in here and you can build these out. There's really no limitation on workflows and how it's used. Especially if you have custom code, then that really does allow for anything that you want a workflow to do and notify you on, it can happen. But this is how we do it, is through, or this is how Kixie does it, is they do it through our automation tool.
And that's the key, is that the companies that have really committed to their partnership with HubSpot have made their technology accessible to our listing and workflow engines, so that you can literally automate seamlessly based upon activities and triggers. I think that was a beautiful example. So thank you, Michelle. We've got another question from Bob. As a one-year user, what's the best way to assess where we are and where we want to go, and what other HubSpot functionality will get us there easier, faster, better? I think that's a great question. I'm going to give a partial answer, and then I'm going to hand it over to Chris. So part of it is doing a top-to-bottom assessment. Portal optimization audit or assessment, which we do. And Bob, I'll be happy to discuss that with you and make sure we get you kind of benchmarked on where you're at. Keep in mind, the goal is to address business objectives. So choose 2 or 3 business objectives. We have clients who pull that off of their 3-year strategic plan, or their business unit review, and we say, how can we optimize your use of HubSpot to the next level? And then we look at what you've got in your current HubSpot capabilities, what users are using and what they're not. A lot of it honestly comes back to refresh training, and realizing you've got more tools at the team's disposal. Another thing that it comes to a lot is making more automation for the user. So if you want, for example, salespeople to use the video tool more, we can set up sequences so that one of the tasks is create a video, and they get it in their task queue, and now they have a chance to be reminded, let me do that. So, even if we just need to nudge our human users to use the tools that we're already investing in, that can be all part of all the optimization process. Chris, a couple of thoughts you want to add, and then we've got more questions coming.
I'll say real quickly, I mean, the portal audit is the way to go. That's the most comprehensive. So I would recommend, if you can, go ahead and it's an inexpensive service. I think you all don't charge a bunch for that, but the output that comes out of that is amazing. The other thing is, HubSpot customers have customer success managers that work with Wendt, that work with you as a client. If you're not already a client, you get a customer success manager, and they can also do reviews and audits with you in conjunction with Wendt. So there's actually a lot of helping hands when it comes to making sure that you're using the tools right.
Awesome. Chris, we have another question. Ying wanted to ask, how much service-related workflow can be handled by HubSpot, i.e. anything that happens after the sale is made?
Oh, it's on workflows?
Or I think just the business process in general.
Yeah.
So we haven't really talked about Service Hub, have we?
Yeah, we haven't really gone into that. It's crazy, to dive into all of the tools within HubSpot. Now that there's 5 hubs, We typically spend an hour on each hub with a client, just because there's so much to get into. So I don't know if anybody would sign up for a 5-hour webinar. I personally wouldn't.
I have a feeling we could talk for 5 hours.
We could talk for 5 hours. Absolutely.
I don't think that's going to be a problem.
But with Service Hub, like what's great is, yes, you can have automatic assignment of tickets. You can have, if a deal is done and you want someone to automatically be assigned from a service standpoint, you can do all of that. Workflows, again, there's no limitation on that automated process that kicks off when that service needs to start. Those check-ins, the automatic task assignments, all of that kind of stuff, and then also like tied into service that I think sometimes people don't think about as much, that I think is really important, is that, and I mentioned it earlier, is NPS, right?
Net Promoter Score.
Right, yep. Net Promoter Score, for those of you that haven't heard that term. And that's just basically like, how well are we doing for this client? Are they happy? Do we have any detractors? Do we need to address anything? Having all of that kind of built in to get triggered to send out, and then that feedback, good or bad, to go to the right people within the organization. Because if it's something, someone's unhappy, and sometimes people are, a manager or a leader should reach out to that person, and that should be automated, right? That whole process should be automated. So things like that can all be built in with HubSpot. You don't have to go get another tool for that.
And I've got one more question for you myself, Chris, and then I want to talk about next steps and what we're going to provide to everyone who attended today. So, Chris, if you had to choose one particular nugget of all this technology that has revolutionized your success as a B2B sales professional, what would it be?
Wow, that's not fair. I would say for me, it's the sales acceleration tools, like things like templates and being able to use documents and meetings links and managing my deals in like an automated way and or manual way. Like, video has been really big for me. That's something that helps me close a lot of business because it's that personal connection. So sales acceleration and video in the last kind of few years, that's how I've closed most of my business.
Absolutely. And I'm going to double down on the video piece, because I use video not only to build relationship and create rapport, but also when a deal stalls, when I'm not sure what's going to happen next, or I feel like we're getting out of alignment, I'll use a video to recap on an important point. Email and texting and slacking are great, but they are limited to words, and humans create images and pictures in their mind, and we can't control how that's going to be interpreted. So when you have something with nuance to share and you want people to feel that inflection and that authenticity, send a video. It has been revolutionary, absolutely. And it's so seamless in HubSpot. So I want to share with everyone that you will all be receiving, if you haven't already downloaded it from our website, our infographic on sales acceleration tools and strategies. This is a nice one-page visual reference on how you can utilize sales acceleration tools throughout the entire sales process and create that one fluid motion. We're going to make sure everybody has that. And of course, it will be hosted on HubSpot. And I want to mention that as well. We work with, as I said, everyone from solopreneurs to large enterprises every day to help them get the most out of HubSpot, and if relevant, to outsource marketing and sales operations to our team using the HubSpot platform. So we look forward to learning more about what you're looking to do in sales. We had one more question, which is actually a perfect wrap-up point. Somebody asked whether we're going to be doing another webinar on things like service and post-sale processes. So we are finalizing the details, but everybody here will get an invite. We are going to do our next webinar specifically modeling your business processes in HubSpot. How to take HubSpot, the product, and make it the business platform unique to your organization. We're going to be demonstrating live with our internal HubSpot sales and business process enablement lead. And we're going to be showing you how we've learned about our own business and how best to build the technology to support our business using the power of HubSpot. Date TBD, approximately 4 to 6 weeks out from today. That's going to be our next topic, and we'll definitely be covering Service Hub as part of that. So any closing thoughts, Chris, before we adjourn today?
No, I was just going to say thank you so much, everybody, for attending. I know, an hour out of your day, that means a lot to me. I know it means a lot to Doug. If you have any questions on the platform, on service, on, sales acceleration, anything, we are here for you. And I just,
absolutely,
bottom of my heart, thank you so much for attending. We really appreciate y'all.
You got it. Chris, thank you so much. We know what it means for you to take an hour out of your day. And I just want to thank you all again. Have a great rest of your day. And we look forward to chatting with you about how you can accelerate your B2B sales in the future with HubSpot and Wendt Partners. Thanks again, everybody.
Awesome. Y'all be good. Cheers.